Oh, hello, designers. I was just doing some light reading on The Grid System by Joseph Mueller-Brockman. We talk a lot about grids, and in this tutorial, I'll show you how to make one in Illustrator a couple of different ways. But let's first talk about why we use the grid. I'll read a brief excerpt. To make rational and functional, use the grid. The designer must subject all of the criteria to careful study. The fact that the great majority of designers out there are ignorant of such a system for establishing order, or that they fail to understand and therefore do not use it properly, may be taken as a sign that the use of the grid is something that calls for serious study. Anyone willing to take the necessary trouble will find that, with the aid of the grid system, he or she is better fitted to find a solution to his or her design problem, which is functional, logical, and also more aesthetically pleasing. For more light reading on the grid system, I may recommend Grid Systems and Raster Systems by Joseph Mueller-Brockman, a visual communications manual for graphic designers, typographers, and three-dimensional designers. All right, let's jump in. So here is a grid. My preference is a grid that is loosely based on the exact dimensions of the original artboard. So in this one, it is an 11 by 17 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. When I mess around with this grid, I am able to find interesting placements for my titles, text, and um, blocks of text that may not be otherwise suited. So let's go ahead and get started on how. Well, in Illustrator, there is an easy answer. Just under this type tool, just under this line tool, is a rectangular grid tool. About as easy as it can be to start in the top corner and pull down. Then you can begin working and aligning your text thereof. Well, what happens if you don't particularly care for that 6 by 6 grid that is pretty much relevant to the shape of our artboard? Well, we can make our own. So let's go back to a 1-point stroke on a line tool. I'm going to start at the top and click and hold shift to have a nice straight line down to the bottom. Move back to my move tool and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of those didn't pop in. We need a new one right here. Or maybe we'll have an additional one. Who knows what you'll do with your grid. But there is a simple way to align these. I'm going to just grab them all and come over to my Align tab. In the panel of Align, below you will have 3 dots and some more options. We can distribute our objects horizontally, like so we know the spacing is all the same, and while they're together we can grab them, stretch them out. Pretty simple, right? We can also do the same here. Well, we will make a duplicate, rotate it by holding shift to 90 degrees, and bring that one on up and down. This is another way to make a very simple grid on its own layer, and then we can start playing around with a different alignment of the grid. Pretty easy. In Illustrator, there's just 2 easy options for you, and you're always welcome to save this grid on its own layer, and then obviously turn it off when you are done using it. Like with everything, rules are made to be broken, and the grid is no exception. I think it's a great way for new and emerging designers to be able to get a lot of work effectively and efficiently onto their artboard in a very organized way. But as you grow, maybe your need for the grid will change as well. Good luck!